This first command takes care of generating the custom tipped arrows. In our execute statement, we're looking for arrows that have their inBlockState set to have a name of hayblock. This means the arrow is lodged inside of a hayblock. inBlockState will keep the name of the block the arrow is lodged in, as well as block state data. So if it's a trapdoor, the direction the trapdoor is facing, or if it's a cauldron, whatever level of water is in that cauldron. Then we check if there is an area effect cloud within 4 blocks, and specifically an area effect cloud with a healing effect. In this store result, we're using a similar trick to last week to do 2 things at once. We're taking the result of whatever comes after the run statement and storing it in the life value of the arrow. Life tracks how long an arrow has been around, and arrows despawn after 1 minute, which is 1,200 ticks. If the run statement succeeds, we'll set the life of the arrow to 1,201, making the arrow immediately despawn because it thinks it's too old. In the run statement, all we're doing is summoning an item entity. So we summon it at the position of the arrow. The item we're summoning is a tipped arrow. We're summoning exactly 1. The extra data for this tipped arrow is the CustomPotionEffect. We're using the good luck effect, a duration of 1 tick, and we aren't showing particles, and it is a level 1 effect. If you remember from the Rage Potion episode, both good luck and bad luck are unused by default in Minecraft, so using them for custom potion effects works really well. We're also setting the custom potion color. This value here corresponds to a red color. A note on custom potion colors: they seem like somewhat random values. How you get them is you take the hex value of whatever color you want, you convert it from hexadecimal to decimal, and this is the value you get. Optionally, you can set the custom model data of the item. I like to use large pseudo-random values and just keep track of them in a spreadsheet or other document, just to guarantee that there's no collisions between the value I choose for custom model data and any other resource packs. Custom model data with items like tipped arrows or custom potions is especially powerful because you can use it to create a custom model that you can also choose the color of. I used this in a previous project where I was making a tabletop role-playing game in Minecraft to allow players to create dice that they could choose the color of. We're also setting the name of the item to be Cupid's arrow, and this italic as false is important to make it look like a regular item instead of an item that's been renamed in an anvil. We're also setting the initial motion to the item entity to be half a block per tick upwards. This will just give the item a little jump out when it spawns. Other than that first command, the rest of the commands this week are really straightforward, especially compared to the past few episodes. In this second command, we modify the arrow in midair to make sure that it doesn't do any damage to the entity it hits. So we're looking for arrows that have the same custom color that we set in the previous command. We also check to see that their damage NBT value is not 0. Once we find that entity, we use a data merge command to set its owner to an empty array. This will remove the UUID of the owner who shot it. We set its damage to 0.0, and we set its SoundEvent to an illusioner casting a spell, just to make it have a slightly different sound when it hits a mob instead of the regular damage sound that occurs. Here's a comparison of the normal hit sound and the sound that the arrow will now make. This third command block modifies mobs that have been hit with the Cupid's arrow to believe that they have recently been fed. So in the execute statement, we're looking for any entity that has a level 1 good luck effect. Because the effect was set to only last for 1 tick, this command should only be run once for any mob that gets hit. We then use data merge to modify the entity's in-love value to 600. This value gets set whenever a mob is fed, and it then spends however many ticks looking for another mob to breed with. This hurt by timestamp is a data value used by mobs to control how long they panic after being damaged. And by setting it to 0, we're forcing mobs that normally panic, such as cows or pigs, to stop panicking after being hit by this arrow. This fourth command is what summons the cloud of hearts around mobs after they're hit by this arrow. In our execute statement, we're just using an at subcommand instead of an as subcommand because we only care about the entity's position. We're checking for entities that have the same active effects as in the previous command, but we also check that in-love is 600. This means we'll only summon the cloud of hearts around entities that can have their in-love value modified. So if this arrow hits something like a skeleton or zombie that can't be bred, then it won't summon a cloud of hearts when the arrow hits. In the run statement, we're using a particle command to summon a cloud of 30 hearts in an area centered around the entity. This tilde means we're centered at the entity position. The next 3 ones mean that we have a radius of 1 in all directions, except it's a bit fuzzy because particles work weird. This fourth one is the speed of the particles. This 30 is the count, so we're summoning 30. And saying normal here means we use the regular particle render distance for players being able to see these particles. This last command kills any of the custom Cupid arrows that have become lodged in a block. I do this because when arrows are shot, they lose data about their name, and so if you picked up an arrow after it's been fired, it would be renamed to uncraftable tipped arrow. Also, because crafting these arrows is incredibly cheap. I have a brief video you can see at the end of this explanation of automating creating these arrows. I decided that it would be worth it to just kill the arrow. So if you fire and miss, oh well, that arrow is gone forever. But they're super cheap to generate more. Thanks for listening through that technical explanation. Here is the automated Cupid's arrow generator I was mentioning earlier, showing how inexpensive it is to generate these arrows. I'm just going to turn this on for a second. Just filling this hay block full of arrows. Then throwing a single lingering potion. Just an explosion of Cupid's arrows after just a few seconds. So yeah, these are probably too cheap to generate for a survival type setting, but it was fun looking at the inBlockState and just trying to come up with new creative ways of generating items as opposed to just, I'm gonna throw all these items in a cauldron and have something new pop out. But until Minecraft gives us custom recipes that include custom NBT data, we're stuck with at least trying to be interesting with our crafting methods. So that's pretty much it for this week. I have something exciting planned for next week. Next week will be the finale for 5 Block Fridays Season 1. But I think it's something longtime viewers will enjoy. Something I've done a few times in data packs, but I was able to condense it down into just these 5 command blocks. So I'm sure you can guess what it is, but keep a lookout for that on Friday. If you have any questions about these commands, feel free to stop by the Command Block Cove Discord server for any technical support, or if you have creations of your own you're wanting to get input or help on, just feel free to stop by, and that'll be the best place to stay in touch over the next few weeks as I take a break from this for a bit. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all on Friday.